booty cheeks. I don't know if you guys have pig booty cheeks. If you're struggling in life, get yourself a pair of pig
Buddy,
cheeks.
buddy, pig booties everywhere.
They have brought so much joy in the life of this one. So if you know somebody that needs some joy, get them pig booty cheeks.
Yes.
You have no clue.
Joy. Hey, everybody, to Folklore and share with Jane and Mark over box 29. Today is the stand, so our resolve is revealed with what we stand for, stand against. And in some of the stories today, we will see what people stand for, but also what they're standing against.
Yeah.
And how serious those forces are and how serious the consequences are, regardless of the outcomes. So we're going to see that today. Our heroes, some of our heroes, again, going through their test, right? So their tests sometimes end with the stand and sometimes it begins with the stand. So we're going to see a few varieties today. Our 4 folklores that we are going to pull from today are Spartan, Hindu, Zulu, and Irish folklore today. A couple of these stories you have seen before. We get to hear a little bit more than we've heard before from other characters. So we're going to see you after these 4 stories for the stand. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1. Leonidas at Thermopylae. In the year 480 BCE, a massive army advanced across the lands of Greece. It belonged to Xerxes I, the king of the Persian Empire. His forces were enormous, drawn from many nations under Persian rule. Ancient writers claim the army stretched so far that it took days for the last soldiers to pass where the first had marched. City after city faced a terrible decision: submit to Persia or resist. Among the Greek city-states, one place was known above all others for its warriors: Sparta. Sparta was a society built entirely around discipline and strength. From childhood, Spartan boys were trained for war. Courage, endurance, and loyalty to the city were considered the highest virtues. When news of Xerxes' advancing army arrived, the Greek cities debated how to stop it. They chose a narrow mountain pass called Thermopylae. The pass was so tight that only a small number of soldiers could fight at once. It defended well. It could slow even the largest army. Leading the Spartan forces was King Leonidas. Leonidas knew the Persian army vastly outnumbered his men, but the pass offered one advantage. Numbers mattered less in narrow ground. Leonidas marched north with 300 Spartan warriors, joined by several thousand soldiers from other Greek cities. For days, the Greek defenders held the pass. Wave after wave of Persian soldiers attacked. Each time the Greeks pushed them back. The Spartans fought with discipline and unity, their shields locked together as a wall. Even the feared Persian immortals, an elite royal guard, failed to break the line. But the mountains held a hidden path. A local man betrayed the Greeks and revealed the route to the Persian king. Soon the Persians began moving around the defenders. Leonidas understood what this meant. The pass would fall. But retreat would abandon the other Greek cities to invasion. Leonidas dismissed most of the allied soldiers, allowing them to escape. The Spartans remained. Alongside them stayed a small number of Thespians and Thebans who refused to leave. At dawn, the Persian army surrounded the pass. The defenders stood their ground. Leonidas and his warriors fought until they fell. Though the Persians eventually broke through Thermopylae, the stand became one of the most famous moments in history, for the Spartans had shown something powerful. Courage is not measured by victory alone. Sometimes it is measured by the willingness to stand when the outcome is already known. Story 2, Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. In the great Indian epic, Mahabharata, a war arose that would shape the destiny of kingdoms and families alike. Two branches of a royal dynasty prepared to face one another on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. On one side stood the Pandavas, 5 brothers who believed the throne of their kingdom had been unjustly taken from them. On the other side stood the Kauravas, their cousins who refused to surrender power. The armies gathered across the plain. War drums echoed across the horizon. Chariots rolled into position as warriors prepared for battle. Among the Pandavas stood their greatest archer. His name was Arjuna. Arjuna was unmatched in skill. His bow, called the Gandiva, had won countless victories. His arrows struck with speed and precision that few could rival. But as Arjuna rode onto the battlefield in his chariot, something unexpected happened. He asked his charioteer to drive him between the two armies so he could see who had come to fight. His charioteer was Krishna, a divine guide who had chosen to serve Arjuna, not as a warrior, but as a companion. Krishna guided the chariot to the center of the field. There, Arjuna looked across the opposing army, and what he saw shook him. Standing among the enemy were people he loved, his teacher, Drona, his grandfather, Bhishma, friends, cousins, and mentors. The men who had helped raise him now stood ready to fight against him. Arjuna's hands trembled. His bow slipped from his fingers. "My limbs fail me," he said quietly. "My mouth is dry. My body shakes." He turned to Krishna. "How can I fight these men?" he asked. "If I win this battle, I have destroyed my own family." Arjuna sank into despair. "I will not fight," he said. Krishna looked calmly across the battlefield. Then he spoke. "You see only the surface of this moment," Krishna said. "You believe this battle is only about victory or loss." Arjuna listened silently. Krishna continued. "The soul cannot be destroyed. Bodies perish, but the spirit endures beyond death." He explained that Arjuna's duty as a warrior was not driven by hatred, but by responsibility. To refuse your duty because of fear or confusion is also a choice, Krishna said. What matters is not the outcome of the battle, but the intention behind your action. Arjuna remained quiet for a long time. The wind moved across the battlefield. The armies waited. Finally, Arjuna lifted his bow again. "I understand," he said. "Not that the war would be easy, not that loss would disappear, but that courage sometimes means acting in alignment with one's purpose, even when the path is painful." The chariot rolled forward, and the Battle of Kurukshetra began. Story 3, Shaka, the Rise of the Zulu. In the early years of the 19th century, the lands of southern Africa were home to many small communities and clans. Among them lived the Zulu people, a group whose name meant the people of heaven. At that time, the Zulu were not yet a powerful kingdom. They were a small clan living among larger and stronger neighbors. But within this clan was born a child whose life would change the fate of his people. His name was Shaka. Shaka's early life was difficult. He was born to Senza Gakona, a Zulu chief, and a woman named Nandi. Because their union was considered improper, both mother and child were treated harshly. Shaka grew up as an outsider. He and his mother were eventually forced to leave the Zulu clan and seek refuge among neighboring groups. Yet exile became a place of learning. As a young man, Shaka joined the army of the Mtetwa kingdom, led by the powerful chief Dingiswayo. There, Shaka trained as a warrior. He observed the strengths and weaknesses of traditional warfare. At the time, many battles in the region were fought with long, throwing spears. Warriors stood at a distance, casting their weapons and retreating quickly. Shaka believed this method limited courage. he began to imagine a different way to fight. Instead of throwing spears from afar, warriors could close the distance. They could fight face to face. To do this, Shaka designed a new weapon. It was a short stabbing spear called the claw. The name echoed the sound it made when pulled from a shield. Shaka also reshaped the structure of the army. He organized warriors into disciplined regiments and introduced a formation that later became known as the Horns of the Bull. In this strategy, the army advanced with 3 parts. The chest attacked the enemy directly. The horns moved around the sides to surround them. The loins remained behind as reserve forces. The strategy required unity, discipline, and bravery, but when it worked, it was unstoppable. After the death of Dingiswayo, Shaka returned to the Zulu people. With the support of loyal warriors, he became their leader. Under Shaka's leadership, the Zulu transformed from a small clan into a powerful kingdom. His warriors trained relentlessly. They marched long distances barefoot to harden their strength. They learned to move as one body on the battlefield. But Shaka's leadership was not built on warfare alone. He understood that courage also came from identity. He united scattered groups under the Zulu name and created a shared sense of belonging and purpose. To stand as a Zulu warrior meant more than fighting. It meant loyalty to the people and protection of the community. Through discipline and determination, Shaka reshaped the destiny of his nation. The Zulu kingdom rose to become one of the most influential powers in southern Africa, and the story of Shaka's stand became part of the living memory of his people. Story 4. Cú Chulainn and the Stand at the Ford. In the ancient Irish epic known as the Tanbo Cuilnia, a great war erupted between the province of Ulster and the armies of Queen Maeve of Connacht. Queen Maeve sought to seize a powerful prize, the legendary brown bull of Cooley, a beast said to equal the greatest treasures of kings. To claim it, she gathered an enormous army. Warriors, chariots, and champions marched toward Ulster. But fate had struck Ulster with a strange curse. Years before, the men of Ulster had been afflicted with a magical weakness placed upon them by the goddess Shaka. At moments of great crisis, they would fall into a deep exhaustion and become unable to fight. When Maeve's army approached, the warriors of Ulster collapsed under this ancient spell. All except one. A young warrior stood alone against the invading force. His name was Cú Chulainn. Though still very young, Cú Chulainn had already earned a reputation as a champion of unmatched skill. His speed, strength, and fierce determination made him both admired and feared. But even he could not defeat an entire army in open battle. So he chose a different strategy. In Irish warfare, there existed a sacred rule of combat known as single combat. 2 warriors could meet at a narrow crossing or ford and fight one another while the armies waited. Cú Chulainn positioned himself at a ford along the army's path. There he issued a challenge. "If your warriors wish to pass," he declared, "they must face me one at a time." Bound by honor, Maeve's army accepted the challenge. Day after day, champions came forward. One by one, they faced the young hero. One by one, they fell. Cú Chulainn fought with spear, sword, and chariot. His skill was so extraordinary that stories tell of a terrifying battle frenzy that sometimes overtook him, known as the Rheostrad, or warp spasm. In this state, his body seemed to twist with supernatural energy, making him almost unstoppable in combat. Still, the battles wore on. The army waiting behind the ford grew restless, but the code of honor held them back. Meanwhile, the warriors of Ulster slowly began to recover from the curse that had paralyzed them. Each day, Cú Chulainn stood at the ford, bought more time. Each battle delayed the invasion. Each victory protected his people. At last, the warriors of Ulster rose again. Their strength returned. When they finally marched to meet Maeve's army, they found the enemy already weakened and delayed by the stand of a single defender. Cú Chulainn's courage had held the line long enough for Ulster to rise. His stand became one of the most celebrated moments in Irish heroic legend, for the young warrior had shown a truth remembered across generations. Even one person standing firmly in their purpose can hold back the tide. Cheeks. Hey everybody, welcome back in. We're here with Jane and Mark. Again, it is the final week final day of week 2, the test. Our heroes have been through so much, as you saw in some of those stories. The stand is where our hero ended. That doesn't mean that they didn't get everything that's coming later, but the stand is sometimes the end.
For one story, but
For one, and we're going to talk about story 2 brings that up, right? So Krishna brings that up of the soul never dies.
I love that part of that story.
And so I think keeping that in mind with it is the end in this vessel. And that's, I mean, especially with story 1. So let's talk about the Spartan story. A lot of people may know this story because of the movie 300. I haven't seen the movie, which upset Mark because I quote it quite a bit.
Blew my mind, by the way, people.
It's because someone ruined it for me. Obviously, if you heard this story, you know how it ends. I'm a big Gerard Butler person, so I didn't want to see him die. I also, it was just emotional. It was kind of like the Hector story for me yesterday. I just felt like I know what happens. Figured that there was a traitor, because you see that in a lot of the ancient times. It comes down to literally one person.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been able to successfully won. That's the only reason. But so here's the thing, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, that guy, that was the only reason. No, I don't feel like that's the way the story goes. But I believe if you want something enough, you're going to figure out a way. And if that's the way history needed to be, so they eventually could have found something else to get around it. That was just the easiest way. He was the scapegoat, and it was in the movie, it's like a hunchback guy. So it makes it easy to look at that person and be like, oh, how dare you? But that was his purpose. So we could have this conversation right now.
That I thought about because of that. I've seen some other movies, and it is the mythology with the Greek, seeing like the movie Immortals. Okay. So there's a traitor there that goes to King Hyperion's army, right? Hyperion in that is ruthless. So yeah, you came to my side, but he, disclaimer, makes it so he can't have children, right? Because he doesn't want a traitor bloodline to continue.
I mean, it makes
So
sense.
I tried to look it up, see if there was any authenticity to it. I couldn't find a whole bunch, but as you go farther back in time, I totally think it is realistic that, yeah, you came and gave us valuable information, but we don't want this like disloyal blood.
Because that's
You
real
didn't
life.
just turn on one person. You killed your people.
Yeah.
We don't want you, and I saw that there was, that kind of castration and stuff happened. If you were a political threat, they would end your bloodline with you. So that was a realistic thing. But I tried to find it with traitors, if you it was more execution, right? Because that's treason. But it's hard to find those people that what did happen to that guy who turned on Sparta, right? And I kind of liked how you said there is a point where we are accountable for how we treat our community members, right? So that doesn't mean that there is a huge reason to turn on your people just because one simple thing upset you or this or that. But
that part is, that's what I'm.
But if we outcast community members, if we do push them to where we don't accept them with us,
right,
they are going to inevitably look elsewhere.
And why wouldn't they? Because you're like, no, you're no good to us.
It's vital.
So they're going to look for something. They need to have community. And you've been bringing up community a lot. Why wouldn't they? If you push somebody out so much to the point where they seek that in somebody else, and you can use this story in so many different ways. You can use it in a relationship that you have with your partner or any other way. If you push that person out and you don't make them feel welcomed, what do you think? And then you cannot be mad at them for them choosing that. Now, it is an option at the end of the day, yes, but only, very few, I think, could be strong enough to say, okay, this is what I stand for. And
I don't want to assume that, the brutality back then, right? We are held more accountable today than we used to be. I mean, things could happen that where Yeah, it did happen. What are you gonna do about it? Back then. So I think there's part of that with it. But two, that's a choice to not just be mad at one person, but to erase your entire culture. That's extreme. There's a certain point where, yes, we did shun, we did push out, we did make it difficult for them. But for me to go, yeah, that's enough for even myself and my history and my family to be erased. Like, that's deep hate and resentment. If I'm willing to allow everything that we have fall because of interactions, but that's how institutions fall. That's how word gets out, is because we do that today. And then we blacklist people from surviving because they upset us or because they didn't fit into what we wanted them to be. And then that person is blacklisted, exiled, excommunicated from their
both
communities.
sides times. And that's unfortunate.
It's like
Just
you
for wanting to
said,
belong.
I don't think that we can blame people for how they react based on how we treated them. It is none of our control of, I'm sorry I offended you, but you need to. I don't need to do anything.
No,
You
you took
offended
your
me.
steps. Now it's my turn.
Yeah. And so we need to be that's
Why
the
is it
biggest
okay?
answer. We need to be
And
politically
that's
correct
what
with our
bugs me with all that.
responses.
Why is it okay for you to do what you did to make people feel the way they did? But then as soon as they want to react to that, why is that now the point that you get to be, no, we can't. Now I'm a better person. No, reap what you sow. There are limits. And unfortunately, so many people use that now today as a, you can't get me, but I can do it. And it's unfortunate because we
People that
allow it to keep happening. And
people that know the system, and unfortunately, it's like
you gotta find that line and play
when
between it.
and people destroy the image of their institutions by utilizing them. So you could have 95% of this institution, this group is amazing. Think of any institution you want: school, prison, community government. You have 95% that are just amazing. They do their job, they work with the people, they care. But that 5% they're
That showcases the
utilizing
whole thing.
they're utilizing their personal opinions, their religions, that institution. They're utilizing the fact that they're in this position of power, because look at how often that 5% is higher up.
Right.
Or people that have been so beaten down that they're going to do the bare minimum because it doesn't matter what I do otherwise.
That's facts.
So they lost their purpose and why they're there, and they're letting everyone down. It starts with leadership. It always starts at the top.
My big thing is people don't quit bad jobs, they quit bad management.
And so King Leonidas, we see this here. He neglected someone enough that that person turned. It only takes one person being pushed out to bring down a major empire, a major institution. And I truly believe as a society, and it's me too, I got to get out of this idea of everyone else, that's how it is, or everyone else is fine, or, well, that's your opinion. Don't be condescending. You're in a position of power. I'm a human being. At what point did you stop giving a crap about my ability to wake up in the morning? You want me to come fulfill all these duties, even though you are going out of your way to make me feel undervalued, underappreciated. I'm not saying that we all need banners and stuff, but when you're told your mental health doesn't matter, you just need to be here. Some of us work in positions, or we used to, where 100% our mental health mattered more than anything else we did during the day. And to be told, well, there's stuff out there, and then to be told, oh, no, we do care. We care when it matters, when we realize
Only
that
when
that
it gets
person
put
is
in-
influential.
Only when the table gets when the video gets turned just a little bit, so now they're seeing it, or they have to see it. Now, of course they're gonna care. It's never in their, they're not thinking about it. That's the issue. It's not that they don't care. It's, I don't think about things most of the time, because what matters to me is what's going on in my daily life. 90% of the time, over 90% of the time, our lives are identical. Every single day that you wake up is going to be the same as yesterday. And as silly as that sounds and as sad as that sounds, it's real life. Look at your daily life. It is just like the day before. And that's how manifestation and everything works. Break out of that cycle So if you're allowing this to bother you, change just that little piece, obviously. But when someone is making it so you can't change it, that's when you have to be like, okay, enough is enough.
Right.
For sure.
We have to take a stand and stand by our choices. Leonidas did that on two fronts, realizing not just what the inevitability was, but how they probably found that out. It could have come from so many people that knew that how did I let them slip through the cracks? But I didn't just let them slip through the cracks. I was intentional, because we can say it wasn't my intent to hurt your feelings. For example, you walk in to talk to someone, they throw their hand up in your face.
Ooh.
It's not my intent to hurt your feelings or disrespect. I don't have time for you. That is hugely disrespectful.
I try to just do one finger if I'm busy. I just give me a second.
No, I've had the hand
But
thrown
the
in
hand
my
in my
face
face
several
like this,
times. I don't have time. And
like from a distance, I try to let people know that I'm acknowledging them. But this is rude. But I feel like if you're like, hey, give me just a second,
right.
like it's all how you position it, because I believe everything is energy. This is go away. Your
Right.
whatever you got to say doesn't matter.
I'm
to
busy.
me.
I wasn't thinking about it. That's why you're in this position of leadership, because you told your superior when you applied for this position of leadership
That you could take
that
it.
you could handle it. To do that to me, to do that to kids, to do that to parents, it's unacceptable, and that's all they've done.
Right.
I don't have time for you. I have time for you if you're loud enough, though.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is you're in a position, you need to realize that that is one of your duties, whether or not you believe or knew or thought that it was. When somebody comes up to you in that moment, it is your duty.
Right.
Especially like when we look at it in the story. There were so many chances for somebody to stop it, and nobody did, because nobody wanted to take that time for that one person.
Or, like we looked up, threats are taken out. Threats are taken out. We see it every single day when people lose their jobs because someone in power got challenged and doesn't have the integrity to live up to it. I'm specifically talking about my superiors when I had a job. They didn't have integrity. They still don't to this day. I've prayed for them. I'm sure that I've had some ugly words said about me, but maybe some prayers as well. But all we can do is stand by our choices, stand by your options. But unfortunately, I wish we had more leaders that had accountability. We did. Fear's no longer there because the end's inevitable. And the accountability is that you let the Greeks go. The Spartans stayed, so those loyal stayed. But everyone else, by taking accountability as a leader, you give others the option to show who they are. But this whole, it's not my fault, well, it's this, I don't know. I'm just so sick and tired of leaders that have no accountability. And then to say, well, you don't know how I did know how it is. I was someone that felt it as a student and an educator. I absolutely know how it is. Well, it's because you're young. Okay. And you educate children who are young,
Right.
but you constantly say that I'm uneducated because I'm young. I don't know anything. I'm incapable of knowing this.
Yeah, that's ironic.
Yeah.
Sure.
But when you want things to stay the same and you want it to be more about your money, it's definitely more about income than outcome, because they've already labeled students.
Well, that's just society and how it's set up.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to live outside of that while being able to live with it.
And that's what Arjuna, right? Arjuna runs into his teacher, runs into people that led him, that inspired him, that influenced him, and went, I can't do this. Because we do have that loyalty, that for those people that truly tried to help us, we have that hard time standing against. But then again, he's sitting here facing this reality. Okay, before we get into what Krishna says, facing this reality. But if that person that I admired, I looked up to, I'm worried about, but they stand with that by refusing to leave, by refusing to say something, you're standing with that, So that's why I said, it may not have been because of me, but those other people that left, I truly believe that showcased their character more, as they stood by, I don't want this. I don't appreciate this. And that shows more character than anything, even being able to walk away going, this is against what I'm saying. You don't have to cause a big scene or anything, but just to leave. And then there's still that, look at how many useful people walked away.
Yeah.
Look at all those Greek soldiers that just walked out, because
Because one
We're not-
person made it happen now.
One person.
But now they get to survive, and who knows what became of their stories. I'm sure they
Right.
got to
Look what
have a
happened with
story.
Troy. Troy carried on their lineage to Rome
Hmm.
because they knew when to get out.
Right.
So with Arjuna and facing these people and realizing it's not about the personality. It's not about, oh, you're hurting my feelings, my opinion, this opinion. It's the purpose. It's what we're here for. It's what we're fighting for.
It's not that one person across from you, because, yeah, that's going to suck. But
think about how many
tomorrow.
times we have arguments, or not even just arguments, but we have conversations where two of us have different opinions on things.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had it with a coworker of yours before, where he was like, you're not going to change my mind. And it was something that I 100% disagreed with a lot of what he said.
Okay.
But we were able to have conversations on meeting grounds of, yeah, I do believe community is valuable. I do believe that aspect of this institution is 100%. Right? So rather than attacking each other, him and I weren't going to change our opinions.
Right.
But we were able to have a meeting ground. Right? And so it went from a discussion of me versus you, or my idea versus you, versus what is it that we actually, what's the purpose? What is the foundation of what we think matters? Because that foundation, that's why we had a different of opinions. He believed it was being done. I didn't see that. I saw it as manipulation. He saw it as a welcoming.
Welcoming and growth.
Yeah. I saw that the potential was there, but that the reality wasn't. He had a different opinion, and we were able to sit there, and it wasn't, we had that conversation and walked away. I mean, we were in that group together. I've never heard anything come up about it between him and I, or him and his wife, because when we take away the personalities, the individuals, truly the love, sometimes we have to set to the side and go, what's the purpose? What's the ethical thing? What's the right thing, in my opinion? Because that's different than other people. And that's how Krishna got Arjuna to pick it up. Look, this isn't it.
Yeah.
The soul goes on, but it does matter what you do here. Because inevitably we can say that our bodies don't matter, the soul goes on, so I'll get another try. It is still highly important what you choose to do here.
Yeah, because if you choose to just fluff it off, then why is it going to get any better?
And I truly believe that we all will either have had or will have this interaction where we are the person
to make the choice of
that has to bear the terrible consequences of our skill, because we have to stand either verbally. We have the ability to get the masses behind us as an archer, right? We have the ability to cause serious damage, but also the ability to help things rise. So we will all be faced with that. And I just think it's beautiful that Krishna said exactly this. I'll repeat it because it was something
I
that
do.
you liked
This
too.
was my favorite line in this.
So the line of, and I'm gonna skip the one where he just says is explain. I'm just gonna read what he said. After Arjuna said he's not gonna fight, this is Krishna, no broken up with the proper punctuation and stuff. So he says, you see only the surface of this moment. You believe this battle is only about victory or loss. The soul cannot be destroyed. Bodies perish, but the spirit endures beyond death. To refuse your duty because of fear or confusion is also a choice. What matters is not the outcome of the battle, but the intention behind your actions.
It's 100% what I talk about.
Beautiful.
It's the energy behind it. I mean, it was just what I said a minute ago with our hands.
Right. And we use
It's
that
the energy
excuse
behind
of
what you're
the
doing.
intentions. This is an intention. That's
Yeah.
I'm in power. I don't have time. This, just give me a second.
Yeah. Like, hey,
that's
sorry, my
wholly
bad.
different, right?
Yeah.
So our intentions completely matter.
But this could also be rude. So don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like rude about it, like just very intense with it, of course that's going to come across rude. If you're trying to get my attention, me personally, if I'm going to be rude to you, because I'm very good with my body, I can be like, just give me a second. Because I let people know how I'm feeling. If you are doing something that I don't appreciate, I'm letting people know even more. Call me a jerk if you want, but you're interrupting my energy. I'm allowing you to.
Right.
So give me a second to adjust my energy, and then I'll focus on you. because I'm busy doing something typically. And if I'm not, and I give you this, it's because that's when I'm recentering. But most of the time, it's because I'm just
But
busy.
you have to think too. You and I shouldn't be facing the same circumstances in our two institutions.
No, and that's what's sad is we can take out the people and
It's
talk
the
about
same.
an exact situation, and it's identical. That's the part where it's like, wait a second, there's an issue there.
Right. And of course, we fall into that. I fell into that. Like the one that was being outcast is the one that was there was a point where I told someone, and he was the only one that really came forward and was like, I don't like walking on eggshells. So here we are. Instantly respect. I had respect for
Right.
that person. And I said, I just feel like I can't even breathe in this building
Yeah.
without it being written down. I dealt with my classroom having the AC on during winter and being freezing, because both me and my students knew I couldn't go to the office and ask for help.
That's pathetic.
And I had never voiced that to
Because
them.
the children that were in that room, not just you, but if you told those 20-something parents that that's what their kid was dealing with because their teacher was scared to go to this, do you know how many people would have been pissed? Even the ones that were friends with the persons in there.
What happened after I said something? A thermometer was put in my room to verify it was cold enough.
That's fucking insane.
I called the only person one of the people I trusted, and she said, take that out of there and I will go buy you heaters. Because that's how she just couldn't believe it mentally, why you would do that to someone. And interrupted class to put it in there. Everyone went dead quiet.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to keep my mouth shut.
Oh, I grabbed
As
it.
a student or the teacher or anybody in that room, I'd have been like, bitch.
So that's what initiated the discussion with this person. I grabbed it after the phone call and took it to the office and said, hey, I was told by someone higher this was unnecessary. And if I'm cold, I'm cold. So this doesn't need to be in my room to verify the temperature.
Right.
And that was just like, why?
How dare you?
And how many, like 100 kids, let's say, in a day?
Yeah.
That were under the supervision of someone who didn't feel safe.
Mm. And that's the part is
And some of them relied on me to be there. Yeah, it's just crazy. And then we get mad at people because we're short staffed, but you can't go on vacation for your mental health, And then, oh, you chose this vacation, right? After spring break, which it does suck. I had 3 to 5 days off the whole 5 years before that. And you're mad that I took a week and extra spring break for my mental health? Yeah, that's just when we got to look at some leadership as just failed leadership. And they don't fail everyone.
No, and that's the thing is
They just
those
failed
people
me.
that you're, and that's the thing. But is it, man, they failed me and bummer for me and everybody like me. And is it a small group or is it such a large group that only it's reversed to where the people that aren't getting left out is way less than the ones that are? Because then in that point, then this story of Krishna saying, hey, this needs to happen. Just like what you're talking about. It needs to happen because there are more people that are getting left out, that it's going to be worse if we don't flip this on its head now. And that's what we have to do.
And I think the thing Krishna is saying is you need to make a choice.
That part.
You have to take accountability.
Doesn't matter what the outcome is.
I think that I maybe had 3 conversations with the office staff the last 3 months I was there. They try to burn your reputation, and unfortunately I've felt that. And you can say it's not happening. Like I've told you, I've been sent video footage of this person speaking about me or that person, to where I've just deleted them and said, I don't want to see it because I already know it's happening.
Yeah.
We already know, but shout out to all those people that have heard that or said that, heard people saying that, and I've been like, you know what?
Right back at you. High five.
I don't need to hear it.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Just because somebody is doing something energetically and they're sitting there talking and yap, what they're doing is they want you to engage. They want your energy to come back here. So what are you going to do? Now you're going to talk about it. Now you're going to be in that situation. So now you're reliving it and you're just in it. They win. No matter what. If you're talking about it, they win.
Right.
So the best thing you can do for those people, because they just want your energy, is just be like,
right.
Yep.
I wonder how different it would have been had any of those 3 women come into my room and genuinely, not and I'm talking genuinely because one came in, but, had the camera on, recording and everything, had genuinely asked me, "Are you okay?" Like that guy did. I don't want to walk on eggshells. I must have missed something. And I said, I didn't want you involved because it's just the go to mommy, go to daddy thing, which I was getting. Oh, you're going to go to that secretary instead of me? Oh, well, then go to that one. I'm sorry, I thought you guys had two different functions. So I just stopped going, and then hands in the face. And it's just like, you don't want that person you have respect for to be involved. And believe me, he has ripped into my ass with some information, and I'm saying, Jane, you need to take accountability for this, where we have had some. I was nervous because I did respect this guy and I didn't lose any because of that. But then I shared why I did that. A little bit different. Doesn't change the fact I need to be held accountable,
Right.
but I see why you did that. Just know you got to stand with what you just did.
And that's exactly it. Like, what is so amazing about all these stories is, yes, you look at it and this is my perspective. This is what is happening to me. And other people are seeing the same story, but they're not seeing it from your perspective. So they don't understand it. And that's our job, is to not get mad at somebody for not understanding where we're at. And just like you, and you just shifted just a little bit so he could see the same story from your perspective. Now, it doesn't mean he has to agree or anything,
Right.
but now you get to see it from the same side.
But
And so many people don't. They won't. Like, those computers are sitting in front of us. But if you refuse to be like, yeah, that's a computer. Because if you go on the opposite side where the cameras are, looking at them, there's no pictures. So from over there, somebody would be like, you're bullshitting me. There's nothing on that. It's just a blank screen. Come over here and you'll see it.
Right.
And it's just, and here's one, there is one. In the middle, now I see both.
And I just like it because it's the only kind of decency I've gotten. And, people may say otherwise. Actually, I don't think a single one of them could say otherwise, because the one person I've contacted about it, just, that information just came in of just lies and now denial of stuff, of my own records and things. And so I was like, okay, I had a little bit of, maybe you just don't know, to, wow, you just have no integrity. You are just not a good person. Like the things put in there. And I get decency from that one guy, because he sees us in the building and actually treats us with kindness. He talked to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, he might have felt awkward because he knows his place of, well, Jane's not really liked. Jane's not allowed here to have an opinion anymore or about anything. But it was just a nice interaction of, I hope you're doing good too, because that's who he is. I wish that our leaders mimicked him. And I think it's funny because he used to be a lawyer. So many of us may go, a lawyer, with integrity. No, I truly believe that this guy.
No, and you can. That's the thing, is what you choose to do with what your profession is. Just because you're in this profession doesn't mean you were the atypical whatever. There's always an exception to the rule.
Right. And I wish I would have opened up more about my stuff, but I was shutting down because I was tired of it. It was the same thing as my first year.
Yeah, it gets to it.
And so it just was obviously the universe saying, you're not meant to be here. And now I'm getting like financial stuff thrown at me. So I'm like, okay, I need to learn that anyways, but I guess I'll try it. All we can do is try. And is it upsetting that I'm excommunicated from education in my hometown district? Yeah, it sucks. But
For the time being,
I can't help those kids anymore. I don't believe in the system here.
Yeah.
I don't. 95% of those administrators, amazing humans, amazing educators, but that 5% made me not believe in the system anymore. It failed me when I was in it, and it failed me when I worked for it.
And how can you teach something if you don't believe in it?
And that's why I tried to leave in the first place, because I didn't believe in it anymore. And then I was just thrown on the tracks and ran over and ran over and ran over. Got that breath of decency from that guy. And then when I thought I was having helping hands reach out to me, they just had the knives behind their backs. And that's my version of them. Though two of those people were hugely important to me. One was hugely influential to me in high school for my final year. The other two I did care about. But when I started challenging the ethics of what were happening, don't ask questions. Know your place. My place is to protect these kids.
Yeah.
We got to live with what we stand with. And they have obviously a whole different perspective. That's great. I've taken accountability, and I wish, like, I hope that they have too. They won't have an opportunity to ever reach me, right? Because they have been blocked because I don't want that energy. One has seen me several times in public and immediately is like,
Yeah.
it happens. I walked away from another one that I saw at the trunk or treat. I saw her walking up with their kids and I went to the truck. I didn't, not with kids there. If there's a discussion, there's a discussion, but
Yeah.
I still need time to heal because it sucks when it's a friend, But they're probably sitting there thinking the same thing. Like, what the heck, Jane? What happened?
This story is perfect for that, though.
And that's why and moving in from that one to the Shaka of the Zulu people were already great people. They had their community. They weren't the strongest around, but then someone came in to help them elevate to who they could be. That's what leadership does.
And I love the fact that he wasn't just a warrior. He was like, nah, we can be so much better. So he went to all these other little places outside where the main place was. It was like, fight with me, have some honor, and we don't have to fight. That part makes this story so much better. And the fact that it was, let's build this so we don't have to be strong.
That
so we
sense
don't
of the
have to
bull.
be strong.
And I'm doing this as the bull sign, right? Not the devil sign, or there's several others it could be.
Yeah, because that
was
his
of
thing.
The bull hit them so hard that they
because
would
you're not thinking about this. You're looking at this big army and you're not seeing over here.
But now you've established that as a strategy. So now you have gone beyond like the Ares persona of raw battle to Athena's strategic warfare.
But it's both.
And it is both. But he's saying, if we have this strategy we put into place, it's impossible to beat. How in sync you have to be with your people that your army fights as one body, incredible. But now we can't beat them strength-wise. So what are our options? What are all the other things? Because there's so many things that can happen before the fight.
Yeah.
Before death. And I just really liked how this person showcased loyalty and that pride. That's what a leader does. They grow their people. They don't say, okay, 8 or 10 are going to fall off this year. We'll just figure that out as we go and we'll hire people that aren't whatever. They're fine. You're weak. You're weak. Because eventually one of your strong people are going to go, I can't. You don't care about all of us. Yeah. We're not fighting as a union. This wasn't the individuals. We are a people. We are a community. That's what we fight for. We don't fight for our money, our political stuff. We are a people. It never once says that every Zulu warrior has the same belief system, you know?
No.
It's like when we go to war with other places. It's not that Democrats are going to war against Iraq or the Republicans are going to war against China. America.
Yeah.
Our country. That's who we should be fighting for. And I love all of these stories because the stand is for your people, not for your gain. Love Leonidas in the first one. He was willing to fall for his choices. Those Spartans had so much loyalty to him that they would fight. Those Greeks didn't owe anything. It's not even resentment that they left because the Spartans are better fighters anyways. Good. We got rid of them. Right? They weren't Spartans though.
Yeah.
This wasn't the weak Spartans or push it aside. They were fighting for their people. The Greeks had no loyalty to the Spartans other than beating the Persians, right?
Right.
And how many times has Greece gone in and taken every city-state anyways, right?
The eye roll. If you could, you should have seen it, the eye roll. Anyway.
I'm never going to get over what they did to Hector, so...
50 minutes. Okay.
But yeah, we're about to go into the fourth one. But I just like how this one reminds us, like the other ones did, the Zulu, we fight for our people. We fight for our home. It's not we fight for just this group. Because then you're never going to win. If you are separated in your community, we don't win.
Well, that's the biggest thing is if there's any separation, and I believe that's why we are weak now. This country is weak.
That's how Leonidas lost. That one weakness right there.
And the term, you are only as strong as your weakest link, man, we got a bunch of them. So build your community, personal community.
Build them. Don't lower your standards. Build them.
Bring it up. Because if you just allow things to come in and you're supposed to be nice and helpful. No, you can allow things into your community that are weak. but protect them and allow them to grow.
Because what they might be weak in, let's
They
say
could
we
be
have to
strong as
protect
shit
them
in
in
something
this,
else.
but everybody has something to bring.
Some purpose.
That doesn't mean like you're a worker. You can go work at the mine. You can go work at the prison. Oh, but we like where you stand, so you take this place. No, it's not like that. Look at how many like COs and miners, how many specialties they have when they get home, though. Those skills that it's just like, dang, if they just had more time, though. Really, everyone has something to offer to the table, and it's not just working 9 to 5, work. Yes, that might be something. And there are people that really enjoy that structure. I know that my hardest thing has been the structure. My day isn't the same day today, and I struggle with that sometimes. I do like getting up at 4:30 and going through because I do really good early in the morning. Yes, I'm groggy that first 10, 20 minutes. But then like I get in and I'm like, all right, what do I get to do today? I like that structure. When I wake up later, I've noticed I have a really hard time.
It's like it takes longer to get
because I've already wasted 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, and then you're just like,
And I'm like, what do I really want to start that project right now?
Right.
Whereas when I wake up at 4:30, I finish it at 6:30. It took 2 hours, but I felt better. And yeah, so I guess just the last one. Sometimes we have to stand alone until our people get there.
This one was freaking cool because he like stood there
and
he's like, I'm going to do a challenge. So they're like, okay, we'll honor it because that was the time.
Right, customs and traditions.
Right, customs and traditions. Okay, we can't go against it. And it's one dude, he'll get tired and we'll just mess him up. It's not going to take that long. It's almost like the tortoise and the hare. It's the hare being like, well, yeah, let's just, we'll mess with him. But they messed with him long enough to where now daddy's home and you're done.
And I like to think that, wow, how cool would that be to be the one that could fight? How exhausting. Just lifting up a sword. So he's doing close combat. So there's some where it is the sword. It is a spear, a knife. But you could imagine that there were probably times that it was hand to hand.
Oh, for sure.
Like it's not just face to face, but how exhausted you have to be. Because, yeah, those people are dying on that other side, but they probably got a few hits in here and there. So that body's exhausted, but it wasn't about individuals. Yeah, maybe he was thinking about his mom, his cousin, they're flashing through his mind. It was his people. It was much bigger than him. And it's a really crappy feeling. Feeling like I just have to hold on long enough for someone else to get here. Because when you see that in a lot of our shows and movies, and I'm getting emotional about it because when you see that, that's when you see they come and then that person falls. And you just, because they have relief, it's not about them. But now our people will survive. And your soul realizes you did your purpose. Relax. And it sucks. But you see people give it their all and Leonidas, they die at the end. And you're just like, because they stood long enough that the people could continue, right? It wasn't about them. But there's also that part when we watch these movies, we get that sick feeling of, why do we allow, especially the men, to feel like they have to do that?
Because that's what we're here for. Sometimes it's the option.
Yeah, but it sucks. Then some of you just think that's it. Like you're only valuable if you sacrifice yourself. Our heroes constantly do that. My purpose is just to take out this piece so that my family can rise.
Yeah.
This and that. And I really am against making any character or anything. Obviously, that's why I'm writing my own books, right? With you. But I'm so against characters feeling like they're only valuable if they die. I don't like that.
Right.
I don't like people who are seen as villains because they have something to stand for a lot of the time. And we're seeing it more. It's logical what they're standing for, what they're upset with. I don't like the fact that they have to die to redeem themselves. What did they need to redeem? Their difference in opinions, their willingness to cross the line for what they believed in, their willingness to stand firm in their choices. I will take someone like that any day. Because good or bad, just like that lawyer, right? Ripped into me, Didn't feel good. We don't have the similar opinions on a lot of stuff, I'm sure, but at least I know you're honest. At least I know when I come to you, you may say, Jane, take accountability for yourself. Or Jane, I don't know what to tell you. That's terrible. Those are the kind of people. And we see it here. We see it in myths. We see it in modern day story retelling. I love that this person survived. At least it didn't say that he fell when they got there. But I love that he held the line. It makes me think of Toto. Hold the line. Da-da-da. What's crazy too is that I don't know as much in the use of like drug use so far back, right? We know that a lot of plant medicine obviously is still being used. But it's interesting to think about too, how back then there weren't gyms, there weren't like those steroids you're pumping yourself with. Maybe there was some form, but this is just that raw loyalty and willpower. You see it a lot in hero journeys because that's what sets people apart is their willpower to keep going. So I can just bear, right? Nothing in a system giving him this advantage. He has skill, but I love that they talk about how he had this like almost war spasms. There was something within him. His spirit refused to fall.
Yeah.
It refused.
It's like that when they say a mom gets that extra strength, like lifting a car. Like that's what was happening to him because it was divine, because it needed to. Because in that story, this army they're coming, right?
Right.
So in this story, this dude has to do it. And they know that if he falls, he can't. So they're giving him a little juice here and there. Hey, you're about to fall. Here's some more juice. Here's some more energy. Hey, we're coming. However he got that energy, he got it. And it's
people
like,
constantly,
let's do this.
when you open up historical texts, it's not just a fictional cinematic moneymaker.
You can
people
make shit
do the impossible. Shout out to Angelina Jolie because her directing of the movie Unbroken, the Louis Zamperini story, I think it's fantastic. I think that
no,
add it to the list. We're going to watch that, Hacksaw Ridge, The Imitation Game, all that.
Pretty sure I watched Hacksaw Ridge.
Angelina Jolie took that book, Unbroken, because it was a book Louis wrote, and I believe Louis wrote it. It's his story. But took that, and I mean, if you want to see a movie about raw willpower, Louis Zamperini wasn't a massive person. He was a track star, you know. He wasn't significant in the way that we see some of these myths talk about, of Heracles, who's ginormous, Gilgamesh, who's 2/3 divine. If you want to really feel what it's like, it doesn't matter what your political party is. I promise you, it doesn't. It's a great story about a veteran, and you don't have to be one way or another pro-veteran to like that story either.
It's about the human behind it.
The willpower, the things people are able to endure. And if that's not a video or a movie that you'd like to watch, if you want to see a real life animal with immense willpower, watch Secretariat.
I knew that's exactly where you were going.
I cry on that one, and if it's not good enough for you, Hidalgo. All right, Hidalgo will be my final suggestion. I'm so touched when I see that, though, the willpower of people, because at one point, that's all that kept some of our cultures going. So thinking about it, you know, I think it was the English burnt down Ireland, destroyed their fields, persecuted them. The Irish and the Scottish sold them off too, you know? And I'm saying this happens all over the place. I'm just talking about one.
Right.
That connects to me. And we do that. But there are those few people that got out to save the culture. Like there's so many countries, so many, that because one or two people survived, now their people have a chance. And how many times throughout history have we tried to erase that one or two people? They stood by their people, whether they were still here or not. They would not let it die with them. That's what he did. Because if he died, all those soldiers that are passed out under that they're getting their throats slit. That's how it was. It cannot end here. I cannot be the reason my people fall. Because it's not the fact that I'm known as the reason why they fell. Our story's gone. Look at how many people have lost their family lineages. You know, I love that. You can be a hero who is fighting off one at a time. You can be a hero who is willing to die for your people and die with your people. But you can also be a hero that ensures your people survive by getting out in time. We have to stand with our choices no matter what, because inevitably someone's going to fall.
Yeah, every story has a conclusion. So that's the biggest thing, I believe, when we're talking about these stories. We're not talking about you going out and actually physically fighting somebody,
Right.
but it's listening to the story and like, what happened? What's the moral of it? And what can I take from it? And don't make somebody stand by themselves, but when they do, give them the grace that they deserve, for sure.
Right. And if it's you, I mean, let that, whatever it may be, that divine feeling, that war spasm, let it take control, because the universe requires balance.
Mm,
We are never alone, even when we stand alone, right?
100%.
And it may be the strength of our ancestors, or it may be the strength of other people's ancestors. We don't know who's there rooting for us. And that's beautiful. Like Krishna said, stand with your choice. All Krishna was saying was you have to make a choice.
Right.
Inevitably, make the choice, stand with it, and remember that the soul never dies.
Mhm.
You will always have an opportunity
Yep.
to right
Come
these
back and
wrongs.
see what you did.
Right.
Know?
Imagine all those people that were reincarnated who don't know these were them, right?
Mm.
That because of what your soul did previously, and if you believe in reincarnation, because of what your soul did previously, you may not be the same culture as you were once before.
Mhm.
But because of what you did, that culture lived on. Those people had a chance. That's all we can really ask for, is just a chance to grow into ourselves. And I love how some people, you have to be taken away to be given that chance. But then don't waste it.
Right. And that's why I'm a big thing of the whole everything happens for a reason. Look at your circumstance. Why am I in this circumstance? How can I make this better? Is this trying to teach me something? And as soon as you can find the lesson behind anything and everything that happens, it's going to make our life so much better as a population of humans.
Right.
Like when you are doing what you're doing in a daily thing and you're just getting that feeling of love that, man, what I'm doing, this isn't work. This is great. And you could be going to a job, but getting that feeling. And as
Right.
soon as we can all do that, just because you're good at this doesn't mean I have to go do that too. I can appreciate you for doing this. I'm gonna go over here and do this. And then
Right.
that's why I love
How can we
community and
function?
old communities where a job wasn't a job you had to go to necessarily take care of your family separately. It was you went to take care of your community
Yeah.
because what you did mattered for everybody. And I truly love that part of community. Yes, we are way far away from it. There's no reason we can't move to some sort of reality where we're back in that type with all the new shit that's going on, but still depend on other people
Right.
to where we don't have to worry about all these big governments and stuff. We can really break it down to, hey, what are you doing? You doing all right? Okay, cool. I'm going to check on you. You check on me, and then peace out.
That's because it's all about possessions a lot of the time.
Mhm.
I need to
I
possess
just I just
something
think we
that's
can
from
get
over
there.
there.
It's just we got to
No,
make the
100%.
decisions with what we're doing,
And we need to have, leaders
and
in
that's
charge.
why we're doing what we're doing because we're making the change.
Right. And so, with all of that, our daily thread is that today we arrive at the stand, the moment when courage becomes visible and identity reveals itself through action. Leonidas stood at Thermopylae, knowing the battle could not be won, yet choosing to defend his people so that others might endure. Arjuna stood on the field of Kurukshetra, confronting the weight of duty and discovering that purpose often emerges through the struggle to act rightly. Shaka rose from exile to stand for the strength and unity of the Zulu people, transforming resolve into the foundation of a nation. Cú Chulainn held the fort of Ulster, proving that a single defender with unwavering purpose can delay the advance of an entire army. Where in your life are you being asked not to retreat, but to stand? Identity clarifies when resolve is embodied. So our resolve is tested on purpose. And that's when we start to understand our identity, what you will and what you won't stand for, what you are willing to fight for and what you are willing to fall for. If we think about it, yeah, I like this person's opinion. Am I willing to fight for it? No, then it's not it, right? Find what it may be. And then with that, our lesson today was that courage clarifies our identity. So it's not that the doubt isn't there. It's there. It's our ability to act on it regardless, to make the choice that we have to make. And whatever you choose to do, it's just standing with it, right? And so our question today is a little bit different. So if you want to, I have been including questions in the daily thread to add a little bit of a double whammy for those of you that really enjoyed having a question to help direct your thought process, because I am someone that likes that, because I will go in any which way.
So then this is for you.
But
You.
right. But our second question and our reflection question that I really want us to focus on is, where do I refuse to move? So it's not just we've thought about where am I being asked to stand? Where is it that I'm standing that I refuse to move, right? I don't think you and I necessarily need to answer. We already know our answer. Well, my answer at least, right? And I may ask you on the side because this is a little bit more. We aren't at all trying to slam people. My opinion, and that's why I shared, the people that failed me also saved others.
Yep.
They did. And they were hugely impactful to me.
That's why there
At a
is no
point.
evil. Like, there's only what energy aligns with you and what energy doesn't.
And
And
we
you
all-
might see evil, but that's just energy that doesn't align with you. So don't think about it. Don't look at it, and it won't be there.
And we grow in different ways, and it's based on what we're standing for. But this question is, where do I refuse to move, regardless of if I'm Leonidas, Cú Chulainn, Shaka, Arjuna? If I were in those positions, what is it I am willing to stand for? But what is it I refuse to move, regardless of what happens to my body in this lifetime? What happens to my peace in this lifetime? I will stand here and I will refuse to move, right? So that's what we're going to think of today. And then I'm going to ask that if you're, watching this, just go ahead and sit up, because this is our application, so we can just do it together right now, is we're just going to strengthen our posture. So in a place that you feel, you could be standing, you could be sitting, just kind of like shake it out, shake your shoulders and ask your body to just fully breathe it in and to stand tall in your full posture, to just hold it for a couple seconds. And when you release, keep your posture strong though. Keep your posture, and strong kind of just means you're at your full, I'm
Right.
straight up, straight. Feel your body, because this is the vessel we have. This is the vessel standing. My soul could stand for a million things in different lifetimes, or it could continue to stand for the same thing. But we still have to take care of this body, this vessel. This is the vessel that is getting the direct consequences of what's happening.
So send it love, because at the end of the day, this is the only thing that's moving you around, that lets you experience everything that you're experiencing.
Right.
So give it some love.
And it's okay. Sometimes we stand and we fall and it sucks. Stay in there until you see the light. Like, really, I had to tell myself that so many times. Stay in there until the light comes. I wasn't seeing a light at the end of the tunnel for a long time. But I kept buying time because I knew that there was another day. I knew that I might not see it, but it was coming. And it took me standing tall in something I wasn't comfortable with, because it had been so beat down emotionally, physically, spiritually, that it took me having to strengthen my body to go, I can do this. And not just the constant signs of, I was right in my opinion, but I love that I chose to stand with it regardless of how terribly I've been treated because of it. And that's all we can do, is just acknowledge our choices and remember that our identity clarifies when our resolve is embodied. So that's how I kind of have to get through it a lot of the time. When my resolve is, this is where I stand. I won't be beaten down to change my mind. Won't be belittled to be unvalued. I'm still going out. There's a long time I was uncomfortable even leaving the house. But there are people out there that see what happened without me even having to share. because they've heard the other side and I've had conversations with that person. I know that person. That's not who
That's
they
why
are.
you allow your actions to show who you truly are, and you don't use your words, because you can only use your words so much. But guess what? That's what the other side is doing. They're using words. So who's got cuter words, prettier words?
Right.
But they can't change their actions.
Right.
So if you are somebody that's struggling with something like this, stand firm in your actions. Someone will come. Just believe that it will. Someone, something, or a conclusion to whatever you're dealing with. It doesn't have to be another person. It could be yourself. You could wake up tomorrow and be like, I am who I've been waiting for. And then go take over exactly what you need to. Don't always wait for somebody else, but stand firm in what you believe in and know that what you're doing is the right thing. So long as it is and it aligns perfectly with what you're supposed to be doing in life and doesn't harm other people, good things are going to happen. Guaranteed. No matter what. If that's what it's supposed to be and you go at it with love and light, that's what's going to happen.
And that doesn't mean that love doesn't get turned into a fight.
And
Sometimes that love is brutal. But speaking for myself, that's had to be reminded of this. We have to remember when to walk away and when to stand.
Because it doesn't
When
have
to
to be a
use our-
fight, but sometimes it
When
does.
to use our actions, when to use our words. And that's all we can do is do our best. And I don't think, I think we should look at people and how they're willing to stand with their choices a lot more than their choices, Yes, some choices, I've made some choices where I'm like, no, I don't stand with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just because it's your own choice that you made in the past, that could be old you.
Right.
Not even the same person at all.
But am I willing to go, yeah, I don't appreciate what I did there. At the time, that was what I did. I'm
Yeah.
not going to belittle who I used to be.
No, you
I'm not
can't
going to try
change
to
it because that's what
justify.
that was. That was
Right.
you at that point to put you into the position where you are today.
Just stand with who you are. That's the most important thing is that, and I gotta tell myself this all the time. Because then I hear things like that, what I heard today, of it's okay. You stood by your choice. And now you got to continue standing by it.
Because there's a reason why you're seeing these things and hearing these things. It's making you, because you get this thought, maybe this. Nope. I'm going to make sure you can't.
Right.
That's what essentially is happening. So in your case, that's the way I see it. You can choose however you want. That's how I'm seeing it. So the people at home can understand is when there's a door that you think is open and you're like, maybe, then the universe is like, nope, you can't. Totally shuts that door. Don't be mad that the door is shut. It's trying to tell you, you thought you wanted this. No, we're showing you, we're telling you, this is not what is best for you. Do this. Move this way. We're trying to help you. Don't take every sign as like, why are you being mean to me? Because you're not listening. Like, that's how I feel. Like when something bad happens, I just wasn't listening. Whoops. Sorry, my bad. I'll do better now. Like, that's where I'm at now today. I used to not be there.
Just standing with who we are and who we want to be,
and understanding you can change every single day and become a better person every single day.
Not everyone's going to like us, and not everyone should. I truly believe that a friend to all is a friend to none.
Amen.
I believe that to a T. If you truly fight for something, you truly stand for something, you will ruffle feathers. So a friend to all is a friend to none in my eyes, and all three of those women were a friend to all except me.
Right.
So we just got to stand with it. And, I don't hope there was a time where I had some dark thoughts, about them, but I don't hope that anymore. And I'm glad that I was allowed to feel that for a limited time and then really check myself. And what I stand for, though, cannot change who I am in these aspects.
Yes.
That was huge for me because I did allow it to get turned into rage. And it was weird because it was several months after, like, even the start of this new school year. And I think it was because it was the audacity to call me and ask me to come back in for a different building. I'm so glad that I stood with my choice to say no.
You can have a leader that says, hey, look at this. This is going to be a shitty situation. Or you can have a leader that says, hey, look at this. It's going to be a shitty situation. So you hear the same thing twice. But this is why it's going to be a shitty situation. And this is why it's going to be better. Or this is going to be a shitty situation. Deal with it.
It is what it is.
There's two different things right there. Deal with it. It is what it is. Or this is why it's happening. Because if I have somebody that tells me this is why this crap is so bad right now because this is the goal. This is where we're going. I'm gonna follow that person. But the person that says it sucks because it sucks and deal with it, I used to be the person that followed it just because that's what you were supposed to do. Not anymore.
Right.
You're weak. I want to follow this. And typically, I'm not even seeing the people that I want to follow. It's not even a strength thing to me anymore. It's how strong are you spiritually? Because that's what I'm following now. That's
Right.
more important to me than anything.
I want people in my circle that will hold me accountable,
Hmm.
but also love me. You know, I have like three friends that I'm really like, I preach about them, right? Now I'm getting a few others that I did not expect.
No, just out of nowhere. And they're like, no, but we're friends, right?
And
Like,
they
that's the
are
cutest
double
thing
checking, yeah, and I'm like, I it was kinda sad because I didn't even allow myself to think
that they were trying to be.
or that people would want to be,
Mm.
because I allowed that mindset to kick in, right? And so to hear people go, "No, I like you because I've seen you. I've had discussions with you. I don't agree with everything that you say, and I'm sure you don't with me." But all of those things that were said that were bad about me were flipped, and these people are saying that it's really good. Not the exact same things, but it's like their description of me, not knowing me very well, is the very opposite of that final year when people switched my narrative.
Because you allowed them in that moment to switch it, but it needed to be switched to push you where you needed to go, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, that whole thing sucks. I agree. I don't like it, but it was because something else needed to come of it.
Right.
So now we can take that whole situation and yeah, there's a lot of emotion behind it, but what at the end of the day needs to change? We know what needs to change. So
Right.
now
That 5%.
we're going to take the steps towards that 5% without, and here's the thing is I'm really going at it with, I'm not going at you because I don't like you. I'm going at you because this thing that you're standing behind needs to change. Your face will change no matter what. If this body doesn't change, who's behind it, it will just step to a new person and they'll just live that story out. And because that's what's set up. So if that setup isn't going to work for everybody, we need to do a new setup.
Right.
And when I say everybody, I'm saying the 95%, not the 5%. Let's switch that back around, get it back to where everybody can be happy and then move forward and quit talking about it,
Mhm.
because
Well,
we
I
need
only
to only talk about the things to prevent us from allowing it to happen. And I'm talking not you right here. This isn't a you stop talking about it. I'm talking about people understanding the energetic part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'm not trying to shut you down.
When we have loyalty and when we stand with our purpose, we stand firm. And people that don't have a purpose or don't have integrity, it starts to fall apart. And I can say that from what I'm going through. So intent on just protecting themselves that,
They don't
you
even
know, it's going to
realize.
work in my favor
Mm.
because they stood with their lie, but unfortunately gave a whole different lie. And
Well,
so
that's the thing about lies, though.
when
It's
people
so
don't
hard to
have
remember what it
integrity,
was.
all they're gonna do is try to say this or this about your personality and avoid the facts and avoid you being able to defend yourself, and that's what people do when they don't have integrity.
Yeah.
And yeah, I struggle, and I mean, after that, it's unfortunate because I'm not going to defame that person.
Hmm.
Right? I'm not gonna go around the community and go, "This is what he's like. This is who he is." Do I want to? Yeah, sometimes I do. But,
But that person's actions speak for themselves and see what really happens.
and, surprisingly enough, not sharing it and having people come up to me, I had no idea that so many people felt the same way
Yeah.
about that person. And we're just like, "Hey, he did that to someone 10 years ago. I know what he did to you." It's just a continuation of the kind of leader that person is.
Yeah. When you allow something to just continue, that's of course it's going to do
And
that.
people can see that, so it does make me feel better that people are like, "Please tell me you're gonna go back now that this person's leaving and this person's leaving. Please tell me you're gonna go back. Like, our kids need you, our kids want you," and now my path is elsewhere. And I hope that those kids, if, they're watching this and learn from this and stand for yourself.
Yeah, they
If
could be
what's
seeing this
happening
a couple
is
of years
wrong,
down the road.
what's
You'd send
happening
a
is
message
wrong,
to them.
stand up.
Yeah.
And it sucks. It sucks. But I am happier here than what I would have been standing for had I stayed with those people who made me want to end my life.
And that's facts.
And the worst part about it is that they knew.
Yep.
And continued. I'm not going to stand for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what they say. Oh, we didn't know. You knew.
You did.
When I was so sick, I was throwing up at work from stress. When I wasn't eating for weeks at a time. You know.
Mm-hmm.
How about the fact that I verbally told you?
That part.
So if you are a student of mine and you're like, what the heck happened? We heard this from them, it sucks. I hope things have gotten better. I don't wish those people harm at all. I hope that they don't ever feel like the way that they made me feel. And if I made you guys feel that way and you're watching it, that love that I had for you at that time, it was real. And I don't anymore. I don't respect or love you, but I don't at all wish you harm. I hope you can grow and have beautiful lives and continue to do what you believe is right, but sometimes we got to take accountability for the fact that we have hurt people. There's some people that I've hurt,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate that they possibly had felt that way too because of me, because it sucks, but don't give up. Keep fighting. Even if it feels like it's you against an army, keep fighting. And I feel good because it's the final day of the test, and tomorrow we get to start the turn. Hopefully things will get better. They won't first day. I'm going to tell you they just.
Thanks. Hopefully they get better, but not tomorrow.
Tomorrow's the betrayal.
Oh, good. Well, we could just do the story from the first story from today. Here we go. Well, let's just do that one.
No, of course we're starting with Judas. Don't even play games.
Yeah, but Judas wasn't even a real betrayal.
No, they're not going to tune in because they don't think it's worthwhile to. You just shared the whole thing pretty much.
People are like, what? Yes, he was.
Anyways,
you have no clue.
Join us for that discussion tomorrow because I've been really looking forward to talking about Judas.
Yeah, this is a fun one. And what's funny is I was totally on the other side not till too long ago. And then when you hear stories and you start looking into things, it's fun to look at it from another perspective. Just like I was talking about earlier.
Don't even change the whole perspective. Sometimes just ask
a question. You're like, wait, what?
This was involved though.
Mm-hmm.
Hold up.
It changes the whole narrative. Yeah. Just one thing, one question that you asked, and I was
specifically join us tomorrow because the question
find
that
out
we
what
have
the question is.
No, I'm going to share part of it right now. So part of the stuff with Judas can change the whole thing. What if there's some claims out there, some evidence potentially? What if Judas and Jesus had the talk before? What if Judas was made aware of his purpose? Look at it now. What if he knew and Jesus knew, yet it was still played out? How different is the persona of Judas now? This is what your destiny is.
It's like a magic trick thing, though. It's like, hey, look over here because we're doing something over here. You got to set up the trick before.
The closer we look, the less we see. Back up and go, hold up. If God had these talks with everyone else about their purpose, why do we just not see the devil and Judas, the two things that are pushed out to us more than anything else? Don't be a Judas. Don't do the devil's stuff. Both of them. No, I'm not at all saying that the devil or whatever should be followed, anything like that. I'm saying, what if those two people, two of the biggest betrayers, what if they knew their purpose, had that discussion, and it was made very clear, I need you to play this role. God's favorite and Jesus's disciple.
Tomorrow, you'll get to hear more.
So we're going to look at that tomorrow. We're not looking at the devil's aspect of that. We are looking at Judas, though.
Perfect.
But there are going to be 3 other stories. I'm not going to tell you what they are because Mark's already shared way too much information.
I don't even know what they are. I'm just speaking.
That's why. He's not allowed to know.
Because I'll ruin it.
Because you'll start talking about that story in today's episode that I'll be like, hold up. No, it's because...
Just keep them on a cliff.
No, it's because sometimes I change things at the last second because I want to look at something.
She's done that with the book. I'm like, okay, so we're going this direction. Well, we were, but hear me out. And I'm like, all right, you're right.
It didn't work this way because I got distracted.
She ran down the
Found the
maze
tube.
thing and then realized there was, 3 walls and the only way to go was back this way to figure out the new way. And I loved it.
And did I go back? No, I don't go back. I
She
just
digs a hole
climbed.
because she's little and she climb under, over, whatever.
Anyways, though, we're gonna go get some second day clam chowder. Just kidding. We'll see you guys tomorrow.